To continue Better Black News taking over politics, we're going to interview the next candidate, Mr. Chris Harrison, who is running for House District 97. Before I start asking my questions to you pertaining to, you running for House District 97, we are obviously in a car. Better Black News has never been mobile like this. Why did you decide that we needed to get in the car? Where are we going?
We are going to take a look at the entire district. So my question is to you and to everyone else, do you know the district boundaries, what it entails, what lies within House District 97 as far as the district itself?
I just know the cities and towns that it covers. Now, when it comes to, actually where it is, maybe not. So, yes, no.
No, okay. Quite often you hear everybody refer to Northeast Oklahoma City as the East Side.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And when we think of the East Side proper, one of our main marking points would be Northeast 23rd and Martin Luther King. So I'm going to use that as a boundary point, but what I like to explain to people is House District 97 is so diverse. We can go from where we have individuals who are living practically in poverty, below the line of poverty, and within 10 minutes you can be in a section of House District 97 that has homes that range in the 7 figures.
Oh.
So it's a very diverse district. However, we're not seeing that diversity spread evenly throughout the district. And so I want to bring about the concerns of you have those that are living one way and we have those that are living another way.
Okay. So before I ask the questions that were submitted to the betterblacknews@gmail account, why are you running? Why are you running for Mike Shelton's seat, House District 97? Why?
Okay. Well, and first we have to understand that Mike Shelton will be term limited, 12-year term. He will be leaving us, and we appreciate his service. But why I'm running is, first and foremost, I'm living in a district that has raised me, educated me, and now it has blessed me and my family by supporting our business. And so essentially the work that I'm ready to do is just to give back and say thank you. We have some things that are taking place here in the state of Oklahoma, and we hear it on the news and read it on the news. What we're running into right now is just inequality across the board, be it even urban or rural. There's an inequality factor that we are dealing with. So what I'm looking at doing is bringing some stability back to Northeast Oklahoma City, bring some stability back to education, and definitely some stability back to job improvement, job growth, and community growth. We are looking at a situation now where we're getting ready to have a generational turnover in what we call Northeast Oklahoma City. My daughter is as well as you all are about the same age, and she's ready to move home, if you will, to be back in the district, to be able to raise a family, educate children. And it's my job, as the forefathers did for us, to bring those equities back to House District 97. And I feel confident enough, not only just through legislation, but through actual leadership that I've been able to provide through various and different positions that I've been able to hold over the last 21 years, to be able to bring that in. And you had to wait your time. Okay, and I wouldn't necessarily wait your turn, but wait for your time. Right now, I think that I have a opportunity to impact the socioeconomic situation of Northeast Oklahoma City proper, just because we have grown and built relationships. I say we, my wife and I both, through our business, through church, through community efforts, we have built these relationships now that can definitely allow us to promote what is great in Northeast Oklahoma City. It's just that time.
Okay. The first question that we have is from Melissa Morgan. She says, what sets you apart from the other gentlemen that you are running against?
What sets me apart? A few factors, I would believe. First and foremost, I think it's just time in the community. I was born and raised right here in Northeast Oklahoma City. I physically live 8 blocks from the home in which I grew up in. I still am able to go see my mother every Monday and make sure her trash can is poured out. So it's just the time that you have spent in the community, living and growing and watching the transition and seeing what it has become. What else sets me apart? I'm married, family man, small business owner. Been servicing, like I said, 21 years in the ministry of funeral service to the through my district, through this entire Northeast Oklahoma City community for the last 21 years. Lastly, what sets me apart is probably going to be the experience. I'm not walking into a situation where I don't know exactly what's taking place. I would be walking into a situation that I have been doing at a smaller level a smaller footprint. I've been blessed to be on the school board for Millwood Public Schools for the last 13 years. So it's a smaller level. I was elected in 2003 and been serving those constituents. This is my third term. So essentially, as I look at Representative Shelton terming out, he was there 12, I've been there 13, and we both have to laugh. We can tell it's been that long because neither one of us have hair anymore.
We have another question from Mr. Marcus Butler. He says, what strategies or legislative approaches do you plan to support or introduce that will improve gainful employment opportunities for young black professionals?
That is a very good question. To Marcus, I said thank you. When you look legislatively, what you can implement for young black businesses, first and foremost, we don't have what's called an incubator. A number of different communities have what are called incubators.
Okay.
And
explain what you mean by that, because I have no idea.
A business incubator is simply this: you have an idea, and then you have a entity that you can go into, and they take that idea and they start you from research to business planning to financing to one of the things I had to deal with in business, to financial control in terms of taxes and using the CPA. What I would require is this: if I could look at legislation that could be attached, it would go directly to the Oklahoma Tax Commission first. When you apply to become a business and you go through the Secretary of State's office, if you're offering goods and services, they will be taxed. So you have to get certain different tax ID numbers. It may be a sales tax ID, it may be an employer ID. At that time, there should be a system in place that will explain to you the steps that are needed to be taken so that you can be successful. Now, when I pull that out of a legislative idea and move towards what we can do as a community to grow, there are federal and state dollars available to build small businesses and to, like I said, place them in the incubator until they're ready to be released. And then once those businesses are ready to be released, you want those businesses to flourish. I had a great opportunity this past Monday to receive an endorsement they said is unprecedented in a primary in an open seat with 4 individuals. I received the support of the State Chamber of Commerce. And I can give you that information once we complete. But the State Chamber believes that I'm one of the candidates that can bring actual economic growth to Northeast Oklahoma City by way of looking at the legislation and working with the current businesses that are in place. You would be amazed the number of businesses that have sub-companies that they use to do a number of things, be it from the oil and gas business, who they use to do the drilling, all the way down to who they use to do the accounting. I've yet to see a business or work with individuals and several other organizations I've dealt with up to and including Leadership Oklahoma City. I've yet to see a business that someone in my community cannot do. It's just that we do not have the information. It's the lack of knowledge. No one has been able to bring this information to the forefront for young entrepreneurs to take place. I had an opportunity to sit with Wes Lane, former DA, and he asked me a question. In the black community, what does it take for businesses to continue to grow? And I said, it's real simple. It's exposure. You don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
And so until we can get that exposure in front of individuals and then nurture it, then support it, then that's where it would be. So from a legislative standpoint, it would come back from what we do at the Tax Commission, mandating that small businesses get the correct training. And then we come back from a leadership standpoint again and place them in situations where they can grow. You partner with Metro Tech. I've had a great opportunity, the untimely passing of my very dear friend, Dennis Portis. We were working on a structure just for that. Well, I say just for that, it was 2. One was small black businesses that wanted to get a start to help them through their process. And the number 2 was looking at those who are incarcerated when they come out, how we can help them better their lives with decent employment and with apprenticeship opportunities, etc. So, okay,
Democrats, we don't have a lot of us, when it comes to making decisions at the Capitol. It's not a lot of us. So you being a Democrat, say you do get the nomination, how are you going to make your impression along with other Republicans when it's coming to voting on issues like, they just recently passed where 21-year-olds don't have to have a permit to carry a gun. They passed that. And, it's people that are in a situation like you that help make those decisions. So how are you going to make your impression with Republicans to have your voice heard, where you say, no, this is why we need to vote no on this? How are you going to make an impression on that?
Well, first of all, let me explain something. That atmosphere that's at the Capitol, as far as having those conversations between Democrat and Republican, of course, that part of this job will be new, understanding that atmosphere. But what we have to be clear on, and this is what my research is telling me, and being blessed enough to know several legislators, we have a rural and urban problem when it comes to legislating. So what may be priority to one who is in Sallisaw is not priority to one who is in Dell City. Okay? So what we have to be clear on, number one, in the House of Representatives, at this time, we have 30 members. Need 51 to carry anything at that point, anytime you vote. Okay? Minimum. And so what we're looking at is you have a number of Republicans who are in the House as well as the Senate now who actually agree with the majority of what it is that Democrats bring to the table. It's when they have to go back and try to caucus with their counterparts who are not from urban areas is where we begin to see a disconnect. So what I can bring to the table is this. It's a conversation. We need common sense legislation. I get it that if you live in Woodward, Oklahoma, and you are 21 years old and you can carry a gun because you have been hunting since you were 12. We understand that. Rifle laws, shotgun laws, those things are quite different. But what we must go back to is look at the incarceration rate and look at the individual who was 19, 17 years old who had access to a handgun in Northeast Oklahoma City, Northwest Oklahoma City, South side of Oklahoma City. That handgun becomes an extremely dangerous weapon without necessary control. So that type of legislation, we understand. They publicize it in such a way to where we don't understand it as general citizens. But when it's time to legislate that information, then it's time for me to have a common sense conversation to say, add an amendment to the amendment. If you've ever had an opportunity to watch how all of these things work when they are legislating, and you can see them at OK.gov, and I impress on anyone this week. If you have time at lunch, etc., go to OK.gov, pull up the House, pull up the Senate, listen to the debates. You're going to get an opportunity to hear what's actually going on real time because they're going to talk about the most sensitive issues this week. Had to plug OK.gov. I just love it. One of the most depressing facts that I've learned since I've been out here campaigning door to door, we've been out here since September. We've been out here since September campaigning. I can come to a street that has over 30 homes on the street. And the most depressing fact is you may only have 4 or 5 registered, documented voters on that street. We need those larger numbers. We need those numbers to be larger so that when we get to the Capitol, we have a voice that says we carry with us 22, 24, 27,000 voters versus 1,500. And so that's one of my concerns in this election is to raise voter awareness and raise the voter turnout.
Of course, the talking buzz right now is, what's going on with our education system and the budget cuts and everything. What is your view on what's going on? How can you help if you are going to be the, next House, District 97 representative? What can you do to help this crazy situation that we are in, or can you help with this?
Yes. Due to the fact that I've spent the last 13 years being blessed to be on the Millwood School Board of Education, I've had an inside background, behind the scenes look at what this really looks like. Okay. Education hasn't been fully funded in the last 21 to 25 years. Oh. But where we are right now, we took a year that we're able to level out. They did not take any cuts, which would have been 2014, 2015. Now we're 15 going into 16. And you're talking about from December to May, we've had on average of about 12% in our cuts. Now, I say all of that to say this. We can fully fund education, but when you're in a system that says your teachers are failing, your schools are failing, kids come into school almost with PTSD. They are unhappy with their situation. Mm-hmm. An 8-year-old doesn't have the money to have a lobbyist down at the Capitol. That's my job when I get there. But more importantly, what we look at, it's not, the children are not failing. The system is broken at this point. Mm-hmm. And we can repair the system. I would say we would like to replace the system, but we're not in that capacity to be able to do so. Right, yeah. But to repair the system, it looks this way. I look at the graduating classes that are taking place this weekend, and those kids are graduating, they're moving on to college or career tech or just into life. So if you tell an individual who has worked that long, crossed that stage, that you're still a failure, that's unacceptable. So what we have to do is, number one, let's throw out what we're looking at through the A through F report card situation. A lot of people can't even explain it, okay? I can explain it real simple. We've all been to school, high school, middle school, elementary school, but definitely when you were at some point in school, you had a midterm, then going into a final.
Right.
If you had a midterm and you had an F, there are not enough assignments to get you to an A by the final. Well, that's how the A through F system works. When we started, we did not have enough students who were proficient, so we started low. And I say we, our entire community, our Northeast Oklahoma City community. That's the school I represent, Millwood, Douglas, Thelma Parks, Moon. We started with a deficiency. Okay. There's not enough assignments to turn that over. So we stop where we are, fund what we need to fund, respect our teachers, pay them well, respect our teachers, but more importantly, make sure that these children have an opportunity to have a successful education, not just a mandatory education by law, but a successful education. So, and that's a broad scope. We had to stroke that with a very large brush. So legislatively, what can I do? Definitely walk in and deal with the budget, because I've had to do it. The phone call went out when we were getting cut on the second time. I spent 3.5 hours with state superintendent, walking the halls of my school district right now, which is Millwood, walking that school district with that state superintendent, Joy Hoffmeister and I said, let me show you what it looks like, along with our superintendent, what it looks like to teach black and brown children without the funds. And guess what she saw? She saw kids learning. Wow. It wasn't that they weren't still learning. They didn't know when they came in and sat in that seat that day that they just lost another 4.5%, 5%. They didn't know that. All they know is they want to come to school, they want to learn, they want to have a good time, enjoy their friends, and for a lot of them, have a meal, because that's mainly where the 1 or 2 meals a day is coming from. So society-wise, let's just be honest. We got to cut across the field here and just say, education is the cornerstone of what's getting ready to take place in this community. I'm here to be able to stand for every public school there is. I'm a product of public schools. I am. And I know what this situation looks like. I have had a child who has been able to excel to be valedictorian, and I also have a child who has had to endure the hardships of a learning difference. So I'm with you. Parents, friends, community, I'm with you. I see what this looks like every day. I know what I'm going through here. I understand what is taking place here. I spent this year promising teachers you would not lose your job, and we finished school this past Friday. Teacher didn't lose his job. We will finish the school year with a carryover, even though you cut my budget. And we're going in next year headstrong. And we're going to try to do it again. So if I can get it done here, smaller footprint, I'm confident enough that we can get a level of success with a larger footprint if everybody's working together. But you have to have somebody in place to do that. Okay.
Do you have one final thing to say to your potential voters that are watching this that you feel like you didn't say?
Do I? Again, register. Go vote. And I'm going to definitely say vote for Chris Harrison. I want to be your next state representative in House District 97, no question, but definitely let your voice be heard. As I stated earlier, when you send me to the Capitol and I go to the Capitol with 4,000 votes, that's heavy. But when you send me to the Capitol and your family in Tulsa sends one representative and one senator to the Capitol. We have some people running in Lawton now. When they send us all to the Capitol, let's not come with 4,000 votes. Let's come with 40,000 votes. Then you can make a shift in true politics. The next upcoming governor wants to come talk to those who are of Northeast Oklahoma City, North Tulsa, Central Lawton. They want to have that conversation. The representative out of Muskogee, Okmulgee, those areas that are highly African-American populated. We have a voice and a say-so. So now when the next governor wants to show up, when appointments start taking place, when you have questions about why are we having so many problems in Northeast Oklahoma City, well, I walk through the door, but I got 40,000 behind me. That's what we're looking for. We have to grow that. I mean, you look at what Dr. King them did. Thank God for movies. Some people didn't get a chance to live it and experience it. But do you think he could have crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge with 12 people? No. Don't send me with 4,000. Send me with 40. And we can make a difference. I know we can. So.
Thank you. And good luck with your campaign.
Thank you very much. I had a good time.
We have just wrapped up our second interview with Mr. Chris Harrison. We hope this interview was very informative and beneficial for you. I'm Jillian Whitaker reporting for Better Black News, reminding you to be better.